Welcome back to another episode of So You Want to Read. This week we are discussing literary fiction. Literary fiction includes novels that don't fit neatly into defined categories. There are certain characteristics of literary fiction that separate it from popular or genre fiction. First, literary fiction doesn't follow formulas of established genres. For example, romance features love stories, science fiction should contain technology, and it is expected that young adult will feature teenage protagonists. Literary fiction often disregards these tropes, or even purposely turns them on their head. Even the overarching formulas of popular fiction, like pacing and endings, are often subverted. Popular fiction tends to feature happy endings, or at least endings whose loose threads are tied up and questions are answered, whereas abrupt or ambiguous endings are found in the realm of literary fiction. Next, literary fiction tends to concentrate less on the plot and more on the characters. Because readers expect certain storytelling formulas to appear in their favorite genres, authors will follow those formulas. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. The expected conflict near the climax of the story. The revelation of whodunit are all popular plot devices. Literary fiction is concerned with the human condition and will take a more introspective route and focus on the characters and how the plot is changing them. Lastly, when many readers think of literary fiction, they think of it being harder to read. Whether that means it deals with difficult subject matter or it actually uses dense prose full of symbolism and allegory, these novels are not generally thought of as light reading. Oftentimes, popular fiction is regarded as made for entertainment, whereas literary fiction is intended to be something a little deeper, perhaps featuring political criticism or social commentary. It is important to note that the line between popular genre fiction and literary fiction is usually blurry. There are plenty of highly entertaining, widely popular novels that are still considered literary. Additionally, many classics of literature were thought of as simple genre fiction by critics at the time of their publication. A good example of this is George Orwell's 1984. For a classic of literary fiction, try East of Eden by John Steinbeck, one of the all-time greats when it comes to analyzing the human condition. The themes of love, family, rivalry, succession, and many more are explored in this classic. If you want a great American novel with unforgettable characters, this one is hard to beat. For an approachable work of literary fiction, try The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. This is a short read, easy to follow, and packed with things to think about. It's all about how the character views the world, which is a staple of literary fiction. For a wild card, try Dune by Frank Herbert. Dune is a perfect example of how the line between genre fiction and literary fiction is often blurred. On the surface, it's a sci-fi fantasy novel about space travel and an interplanetary war. But the deep focus on character development, vivid prose, and political and ecological commentary set it apart from other titles written as pure entertainment. Some tips for reading literary fiction. Familiarize yourself with the context of the novel. If there is an introduction before the book starts, don't skip it. Maybe look up the book online and get a bit of info on the author's life and the background of the book's creation. Read for comprehension rather than consumption. Read slowly and savor the prose. Think about what symbolism might be appearing, and make sure to read a passage more than once if you feel that it was important. Focus on the characters, their qualities, the conflicts, their growth or decline. Often the meat of the novel will be found with the characters rather than the plot.